Traveling alone or traveling with friends? That's what we're talking about in today's Coffee Time Chat, where we get real and talk about things that we all know but don't really say. Now, personally, I always travel alone, except if it's family holidays. I usually prefer traveling alone. But that's why I wanted to talk about it today's quick video. Do you prefer traveling alone or do you prefer traveling with friends? What are the advantages and disadvantages of both? And one of the reasons I wanted to make this video was, I kind of get this a lot and I do hear it often, where people travel with friends, it can be awkward, things don't turn out right, and when they come back, they're not always the best of friends, or they're not always at the same level of friendship than when they left. So that's why I wanted to kind of hear your thoughts about it. Do you have good experiences or bad experiences, and do you just prefer to travel alone, or is there a way to work things out and travel with friends? So me personally, as I said, I love traveling alone. I think for me, I'm a very independent traveler. I love traveling on my own, going where I want, doing what I want to do, when I want to do it. Now, I think for that, there's also a bit of a sense of an adventure. I love being on my own and discovering new places. I love traveling to new places and just seeing what there is and seeing it on my own without having other people around with me. Some of my greatest sort of feelings are when you're in a new city and you get lost in the street, and that sense of adventure I absolutely love, and I miss that as well if I don't travel. But of course, Google Maps does take some of the fun out of that, because obviously if you're ever lost or you're not sure, you can always go on Google Maps and right there you can see where you're going. But even for that reason, I don't always like using Google Maps, because you can search to go from one place to the next, but then it will take you down one route. And the beauty of walking down streets that are unknown and getting lost and having that sense of adventure is you get to see all the random streets, all the random alleys, the random shops that you would not have ordinarily seen if you stuck to the main sort of tourist route that usually Google Map or something else will take you through. Another reason I love traveling alone is to do with the whole independent traveler thing. I love going where I want, doing what I want to do, and when I want to do it. When you're traveling with other people, you do have to have other considerations. Now, I'm not saying I'm selfish, but what I mean is people have different interests, people have different kind of things that they would like to do on holiday, and people have different times of the day that they want to do it. As an independent traveler, I love to have the option of going where I want and doing it when I want to without having to always consult or make plans or change plans or see if everybody's on board. You can just go ahead and do it. I think it's that much more efficient. In this regard, I did go to New York City for my birthday with my brother. It was an amazing time. We had a lot of fun. We went to a lot of places, but I do remember, like, I would prefer going to bed a little earlier. Of course, I'll still go out, but I want to go to bed earlier, and I also want to be getting up early as well, so I can maximize and make the most of my time. But my brother wanted to sleep in a little, so I remember for the last day I was just like, you can do your own thing, sleep in, and then I'll meet you at the airport. I'm gonna get up early, I'm gonna go out to the places that I want to go, and of course I'll see you at the airport. And again, it kind of worked well for the last day, just because I wanted that time to myself where I could do what I want to do rather than wait for other people to get up, get ready, go have breakfast, then go to where you want to go. One thing I will say also is traveling alone, I mean, this can happen when you're traveling with friends too, but traveling alone just makes it that much more easier to meet new people and make new friends. I remember when I was in Budapest, I was traveling on my own, and I went on one of the boat rides along the river, the Danube, I think it was. My pronunciation's terrible. But anyway, we went along the river in the boat, and it was like a nice cruise. It was really good. And I was traveling on my own, and there was another guy traveling on his own, and there was a family over there. And what happened was, because we were seated together, we just naturally started talking to each other. Where are you from? Where are you visiting from? How long? Oh, you're from here as well. Oh, I'm from here. And we kind of had the rest of the sort of the boat ride along the river together in that kind of fun way, and it's just really nice, to be honest. And again, things like that happen when you're traveling alone. Of course, it can happen with your friends, but if you're with a group of friends, sometimes you're not likely to kind of break away and make new friends with other people. But when you're traveling alone, it's that perfect time to just explore and talk to new people. They're like, hey, what's your story? Okay, now what are the downsides? Now, it has to be, of course, getting tired of using my selfie stick. No, I'm kidding, that's not what it is. Of course, don't we all need our friends just to take pictures of us? I am joking. But one thing I will say is, one of the most the sort of downside that I find about traveling alone is not being able to, oops, my tea's spilling, and it's actually not even coffee. But anyway, one of the downsides I find is when you're traveling alone, you don't have someone to share the experiences with. And what I mean is, it's nice to sometimes when you have a nice interaction with somebody, you go see an exciting thing or an interesting thing or an interesting observation. Something comes along or happens on the trip and you don't have somebody else to share it with. And that's something that I do miss. All these travel stories, all these unsaid things that you want to talk about, you don't get to share that with a travel partner, where usually if you're with a travel partner, you can be like, oh my god, did you see that? That was so cool. Or did you notice that? You kind of miss these in order to like what I mean is you miss sharing this with other people. Going back to that little joke earlier on, it is true though. I mean, it is nice traveling with friends, with other people, because then you always have somebody who can take a picture of you. You don't have to resort to the selfie stick all the time. You don't always have to bother random people to like take a picture. I remember just recently when I was in Poland and it was snowing outside, it was very cold, and I asked a random group of people, I asked somebody inside there, can you please take a picture of me? And they're a bit like, okay. They seemed kind of reluctant only because it was cold, it was snowing, they had to take their gloves off trying to get my phone and fidget about with it. Now if we flip the coin and look at the other side, travelling with friends, of course I think travelling with friends could be good and nice, but as I said earlier on, I feel many times people go on vacation, go on holiday with people and friends, and they come back with a slightly different level of friendship. I mean, if you haven't killed each other, that's a good thing, but generally it doesn't always turn out as good. The main concern I have with traveling with friends is sometimes if you travel with friends, I feel there could be little petty arguments. It could be too much togetherness. There could be different things that you want to do at different times because you have different personalities and you have different interests. And I think that could sometimes cause conflicts where you're having to compromise and compromise too much. And you don't want to resent that person because you're on holiday together, you want to do collective activities, but of course you're ending up arguing and having those disagreements. And I think for me, that's definitely one of my biggest concerns. One thing I will say in this regard is when I was in Rome once with my brother traveling, my two brothers traveling actually, I remember sort of going to, I think it was Castello San Angelo, and there were two American girls, and we were just outside the ticket office, and I was waiting for my brother to go buy the tickets, and I was just waiting with my brother, my other brother, and there were two girls, American girls, and they were arguing over money. And I remember one said to the other one how, you know, I'm paying for everything and you don't seem to like to pull out your wallet anywhere we go. And it was just a bit of a disagreement, and I remember saying to my brother, like, that's why I would not want to travel with friends. I wouldn't want to have this awkwardness of you're not paying for everything, I'm paying for everything, or just something like that. And I felt that was one reason where that's going to be something that they can look back and be like, ugh, Rome was amazing and nice, but we had those disagreements. I wouldn't want that to ruin my trip. But in this regard, I think it's super important to have good communication. Now, I did recently go to California and I went there with my friend. And again, I did have some reservations because, again, we're both very independent travelers. We both like to do our own thing and we have slightly different interests and we want to go our own ways, do our own thing. And it can be a little difficult, but either way, I was traveling with my friend, and I must say communication is super important because we ended up having an amazing time. I really enjoyed it. It went better than I expected, and I think it all does come down to the communication we had before we went, which was talking about what we like to do, what we want to do when we go there, how we do like our own space, and we talked about things like that. So when we did end up going there, we actually ended up doing a lot of similar activities. We spent a lot of time together, and we really enjoyed it. And again, from initially having reservations to coming back and we haven't killed each other, it's a good thing. So yeah, definitely communication is definitely up there in order to avoid traveling with friends and coming back with that different level of friendship than when you left. So that's my short video on traveling alone or traveling with friends, and I am really curious to know what your thoughts are. Do you have any experiences traveling with friends or traveling on your own? Do you prefer one over the other? Did you have any negative experiences? Is there anything that you kind of learned or what you would do differently? I genuinely am curious to know what your thoughts are. Please do leave them in the comments, just because I still prefer traveling on my own, but on occasion I am definitely now open to traveling with friends with that communication, of course. So let me know in the comments what you think, and if you have enjoyed this video, I do thank you, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I do hope you consider subscribing, and of course thank you for joining me for today's video, and I'll see you in the next video.